Hoy, chummers! Just wanted to take a moment and let you know about our Patreon. While we release episodes of Shadowrunnin on Empty every single week, we actually have a backlog of about 4 episodes at any given time, just to give us a little cushion in case we can't record on our schedule for whatever reason. You know, like holidays or bug spirits. If you're interested in getting access to the episodes early, as well as a bunch of other benefits like artwork for the show, news on changes or rollouts, and sneak peeks at other things coming up, 5 new yen a month over on patreon.com/critical_hits gets you full access to all of the bells and whistles. You can even get a shout out for your support at the end of every single episode of Sinless as well. So if you enjoy the podcast and you'd like to support our work as well as get tons of bonus perks, that's the best way to do it. Thanks for your time, and let's get back to the show.
Hey chummers, So Easy Mode here. I've been a GM of various games for the past 25 years. I'll be the host of the podcast, bringing some much needed information about the shadows.
Hey, I'm Austin. I play Kaze in the Sinless game, and I am excited to learn more about the lore.
Hello everybody, I'm Tyler, aka Captain Cozy. I play Zero on the Shadowrun actual play series, Sinless. It's time to get our lore going.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Shadowrunnin on Empty, where we fill your brain with Shadowrun lore. And today's topic, we're gonna slow things down and get a little recreational.
Oh yes.
And by that I mean with the drugs.
Yep, with the fun things.
The fun
and the
things.
good times.
This is where the Bob Marley kicks in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Afro Man intensifies.
Afro Man intensifies. Drugs do still exist in the Sixth World. Everything that we have nowadays still carries over to the Sixth World. It's just they've got some new designer stuff.
Like super aspirin?
I mean, so instead of regular weed, you can have deep weed.
Oh, I don't know how I feel about that.
So deep weed is a narcotic derived from the Caribbean from an awakened kelp.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interested. I gotta be honest. This is sounding more like ayahuasca than like actual magic weed. But
it kind of is.
Okay.
The deep weed forces any magically active user to astrally perceive,
so
if that user is an adept.
Oh, but only if you're magically inclined.
Yeah, it forces the awakened to see the astral.
Interesting. So it is like literally a forced hallucinogenic trip, but the hallucinogenics are just the astral.
I mean, the dangers from it obviously is you use this and you're now dual-natured for the duration.
Yeah, that's nothing ruins a trip faster than a bug spirit appearing out of nowhere, you know?
Oh, we gotta come down fast, man.
Oh man, it's right behind me.
Are you seeing all of the clicking? That cockroach is huge, man.
So I am interested in the fun and recreational side for this, but from a technical standpoint, what are the advancements of like medicinal medicine and drugs and like kind of like healthcare at this point, like in the Sixth World? Because we had kind of talked about how we had like the privatized healthcare stuff with the
dock wagons
and how that basically made healthcare more privatized than it already is, which is a terrifying nightmare in and of itself. But like outside of that, I mean, has like prescription medication and things also been affected by like mega corporatization in the same way?
A little bit.
Okay.
So let me find.
Also, sorry if I'm jumping the gun on this here. I didn't know if we.
No. It's fine.
I just thought before we got into the fun stuff, we should handle all the boring bookkeeping up front, so that way we could be like, wow.
Yeah, we get all the boring stuff. And
wow, future
regular.
Yeah,
future penicillin. Oh man,
future penicillin really is all that in a bag of chips. So anyway, how about super shrooms or meth plus?
When we get there, because I
you
promise we will.
Have you tried new meth? Same meth feeling, new meth taste.
Now in spearmint. With Doc Wagon and the privatization of healthcare, a lot of it has advanced a little bit. You also have to think with corporations getting their sovereignty, there's no oversight.
Oh yeah. So does the FDA just not exist in the sixth world at this point?
Not in the same capacity that we think of now, especially from all the privatization. So it exists in the premise that it's marginally still around to be able to afford people with some kind of care, but a lot of things have gone more the corporate route or into the Doc Wagon area.
And so the Doc Wagon is one company. It's one megacorp that runs the Doc Wagon, right?
Yeah,
and
it is Doc Wagon.
Okay.
Armed medical assistance 24/7. That's their slogan.
And so, for all intents and purposes, at this point in the sixth world, Doc Wagon is healthcare.
Yeah. Well, Doc Wagon will travel anywhere.
Right. Yeah, I remember we got into the conversation about if they would be able to come down to our subnautical lab to get me if I got damaged enough in our last mission that we were in.
As long as your signal goes off,
yeah.
Doc Wagon will be dispatched.
So with that being the case, then Doc Wagon is basically the FDA and the healthcare provider all kind of just wrapped up into one package rather than being separate entities that are all kind of working together.
In a way, yeah.
Okay.
So Doc Wagon has been joined by various competitors. They have a competitor that is Crash Cart Medical Services.
Okay. That sounds like a shady lawyer company that would be wagon chasers, but okay, go on.
Crash Cart Medical Services is a subsidiary of Yamatetsu.
Okay.
So they're also trying to compete with that privatized healthcare.
Who is the main megacorp that operates Doc Wagon?
Doc Wagon is its own international AA corporation.
Oh, so they're Doc Wagon's its own entity. It doesn't actually.
They're their own corporation.
Gotcha.
Based in Atlanta.
Okay.
They were the pioneer in the medical services industry by offering unique medical insurances, including armed response.
That's so interesting. I mean, I would have to imagine that it's because they've become such a name at this point that, like, they don't have any incentive to, but, like, I find it so strange that none of the megacorps have tried to buy Doc Wagon. Like, it seems like that's, like, why not just get into the, like, any megacorp wanting to dip their toe into the medical field, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But
well, Doc Wagon was unique, and for them to rise to a AA corporation, that would mean that they're able to hold their own right now, especially against any kind of hostile takeover where they have the trained high threat response units. So I mean, they're going to hire Shadowrunners to be on these high threat response units to be able to go and pick up the asset that has his bracelet going off. And so do you really want to throw regular security forces at Shadowrun teams?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That checks out. That's fair. Okay, so then with that all being said, like, what is the state of like commercialized, like normalized medicine at this point? Like, if there's no FDA because drug distribution is all handled independently by the megacorps, is it kind of just like, I guess just take it and see what happens territory for the most part, like a lot of the time, or
Well, with the mega corporations being more involved in, pharmaceutical researches and everything like that, you'd enter more into this kind of free market medical choice here, based off of what corporation you want to try and get your medical aid with. So you can shop around a little bit.
so it's kind of like, who are you going to buy health insurance through based on what medications do they cover?
Mm-hmm. And then Doc Wagon is kind of an all-encompassing medical service.
Gotcha. Now, outside of Doc Wagon, are there still like normal ambulances and stuff? Like,
yeah, there's regular
okay.
response hospitals. The unique thing about Doc Wagon is that they are the leader of the fast point of service emergency medical service market with armed response.
Right. Yeah, their EMS have guns. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, they're EMS with guns.
They're EMS with guns. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, that's valid.
That's based off of your contract that you buy.
Yeah. Right.
And you have your basic service, your gold service, platinum, and super platinum.
I think mine is a platinum on Kaze. I think I got him a platinum.
It's $50K a year.
Sure is. It's a good thing I own a company now.
With platinum service, it gives you free high threat response service, 4 free resuscitations per year, and a half discount on clinic hospital stays and death compensations.
Oh, you gotta love a good death compensation.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what drew me in. I was tired of not being offered compensation for death.
That's what $50,000 a year gets you.
That's what you, at the minimum, right? You would hope at the minimum.
The basic is it gives you the client pay per service access to Doc Wagon services. You pay an annual fee of $5,000, and fees for Doc Wagon services can range from $5,000 for high threat response to $8,000 for on-site resuscitation. Acute care coverages range from 500 new yen to 1,000 new yen per day, depending on the level of care.
Jeez. Fair.
Note that these costs are significantly less than the average hospital stay and even basic surgery costs.
So, do the Doc Wagons have like the hospitals that are specific to them as well then? Oh, okay.
Yes, they have their own hospitals too.
Gotcha. So they don't take you to a general hospital if you need it.
They take you to one that's going to be owned by them. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so Doc Wagon, good to have. If you can
Very
afford it.
important service, yeah.
So then, like, in terms of the, like, having to figure out, I guess, how to do medicinal advancement going forward, is there any notes about like how that was affected by awakened beings? Like, did somebody who was magically attuned like take a baby aspirin at some point and their head exploded because like there was something in baby aspirin that was like non-cooperative with the astral? Or
so they find out as time goes on that you have to treat the magically awakened a little bit differently than you would normal people. Because so much trauma to the body will cause a disruption to be able to harness the flow of mana.
Okay.
And so they have to take extra care with that, and treating people that are magically awakened is actually a little bit more difficult and more costly. There.
So if you had to like go in for a surgery and something got botched in the surgery, you might survive, but your magic attunement would be all wonky now.
Yeah, in the sense of the game, basically you lose a point of magic.
Oh shit, that's
Yes.
okay.
So
that's pretty significant then. Oh my God.
to reflect that in terms of the sixth world living, you feel less connected to the mana than you normally would.
Yeah, that's
and then
no
you
bueno.
either have to take a geese to overcome it to still be able to technically have your full point, but now you can only cast that certain spell at that original power that you had at night, or you have to wave your hands around to do it type deal.
Yeah, I think you
Yeah,
have
back in
mentioned
Magic.
this before. Yeah, back in Magic, right? Yeah, that it's one of those like it's awful, but it also sounds delightful from a GM standpoint of like trying to figure out what the like negative like. Can you give somebody like a Zatanna syndrome where they have to say all their spells backwards, or?
Yeah, you could do that.
Oh, yeah, that would be good. I mean, I'm not saying that we keep that in mind should anything horrible happen to a maging, but I think it would be pretty funny to hear him just try to say all of his spells backwards.
Oh, jeez. I'm not sure he would be able to do it. And then if he messes up even a little bit, the spell doesn't work.
Then the spell misfires or does something
wrong? It just does not work. It usually doesn't work.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Anyway,
that's why you have to take extra care.
Not that we're trying to plan against our own teammates here or anything. That's never the case. But
of course not.
Okay, so then is there like magically? Oh yeah, because I think we talked about this as well, right? Aren't there like isn't there like a specific magic doctor certification that people will get to be like a doctor who specifically works on like magic akin people?
It's actually if you have magical healing ability, you have a different medical license that you go through to say that you're able to cast healing magic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess
that's what's different.
I guess it's just because we've never come across it with our party so far, but I don't know why I just never thought about there actually being like magic healing in the sixth world. Like, because all of the stuff that we've done so far has mostly been like either attacking stamina or like elemental based magic. But yeah, I guess like magical healing is something that I just never even considered.
Yeah. Well, you definitely want to have regular medical treatment first before you opt for any kind of healing spells. Because if you get shot and riddled with bullets and then a mage casts heal on you, it's sealing the wounds, the bullets are still in there.
Ah, so if there's no exit wound, then you can just die nice and slow from lead poisoning instead of bullet wounds.
Yes, and then they have to re-wound you to cut you open to get the bullets out.
Ooh. Okay, so it's very literal healing magic and not like super magic healing magic. Like
no, it doesn't.
Like in like
it doesn't
D&D.
push the bullets out.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that's awful. That sounds like a nightmare.
It also takes time. Like you can't magically heal during combat.
Like instantly. Like it
takes too much time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Again, that checks out. Yeah. That is one of the things that I always thought was funniest about like the way that D&D's time system works is it's like what a round is like 6 seconds, right? And it's like 10 rounds of combat equals a minute. And then you have somebody that casts a healing spell, and it's just like I've always assumed that any type of magical spell casting would take longer than 6 seconds to channel.
Yeah,
maybe
I've thought about that too.
Maybe that's just because I've like am more invested in like high fantasy where there's like big elaborate productions put into everything for spellcasting. But I've always thought that 6 seconds for spellcasting was a little quick.
Just a little fast.
It's just a little fast. Like that's a little.
I mean, especially for those more complicated spells too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's like every spell casts the same. It's like resurrection takes the same amount of time to cast as thaumaturgy. Like what? Like I feel like that's not right.
It doesn't seem right. No.
I mean, we do at least have like focused spells and stuff, so there is that, which kind of makes it a little more sense. But anyway, losing the plot here. So
That's okay.
So-
We'll get
so-
back to those recreations.
so magical spellcast. So magical healing in the sixth world is applicable, but not
the best.
Not the best in comparison. Would
Mhm.
rather have a dock wagon.
Definitely.
Like conventional medicine is all owned, distributed, and manufactured by megacorps, so there's no FDA at all anymore.
Yay!
Which, yeah, that just seems bad to me. But okay, I guess if you're gonna invest every other portion of your life into one of the megacorps, trust them with medication as well. At that point, I guess I don't.
Buy the company script. Come on.
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. So, okay.
They have the best aspirin.
They have the best aspirin.
In fact, it's the only aspirin you can afford.
See, that's where it becomes a nightmare, is because with no FDA oversight, that just means everything can cost whatever the megacorp wants it to cost. That's the thing that I'm terrified about. As somebody
Welcome to the capitalist world
As
nightmare that is.
Dude, as somebody who earlier this month had to pay $350 for an inhaler so I don't die. Like, the
Yeah.
concept of no price-controlled oversight for medication and it's all run by megacorps is actually terrifying. That is, of everything that we've talked about in this podcast so far, that is the scariest thing. The unknown forces have nothing on fully privatized Medicare, medical handling. Oh God.
Well,
Okay.
with all this dystopian, you might want to escape the world.
Yeah. So how do
and
we
the
get
way that
away
it
from
feels.
this? How do we get away from this nightmare?
Well, I'd like to introduce you to this lovely little drug called Bliss.
Oh, it sounds delightful.
You can inhale it or inject it,
Okay.
and it is a tranquilizing narcotic derived from opium,
Oh. Well, all right then.
synthesized from poppy plants.
As all good opiums should be.
You get a complete euphoric, relaxing feeling.
Mm.
You're able to just kind of, melt away from the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Especially if you were to take it in the middle of a gunfight. Then you
Yeah.
have nothing to
It's
worry
really scary with all these bullets whizzing around. Let me just shoot this up really quick.
Okay, so I have a concept for a runner, and
Uh-huh.
I now that we've been talking about this, I just want to know if this would be possible. So
Sure.
I want to make I guess it would be like a Street Sam as
Uh-huh.
the basis for the character, but
Okay.
basically he's the sixth world drug dealer who fights using drugs.
Yeah.
Like you get into if you get into a gunfight with a couple of guys, you have projectile syringes that you can shoot them full of bliss in order to make them chill out and not try to fight you anymore.
So what you're after is
Uh-huh.
a dart gun.
Yep.
And then you're looking for any kind of narcotic that can be
Inject.
done through injection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think I just came up with the concept of my second character. Should
You've
the
got
need
a few.
arise? Oh, all right. I'm gonna take notes on these because I actually really like this idea now of just being like a shady drug dealer who's also yeah, the first one's free. Ha! Shoot him in the neck.
Oh boy. I mean, there's a bunch of different ones that you could use. We want to go the injection route.
What do you got for me?
I've got I've got long haul.
Okay.
It lasts about 4 or 5 days, and it alleviates the need for sleep.
I mean, that one I feel would be more of if we needed to get somebody to crack in the VIP lounge type of scenario. You crank them on that, then they can't sleep and it just drives you crazy slowly. I don't know what the practical combat application for that drug would be, per se.
It's just keeping you awake for long periods of time. It'd probably be better in the long-term type deal.
Yeah. Okay.
The next injectable option that you have is Nova Coke.
Oh, yes, we are familiar with Nova Coke, thanks to multiple members of our team in our Sinless playthrough.
Yes.
Okay, so
it's a lovely stimulant derived from cocoa plants.
Uh-huh.
And Nova Coke is a highly addictive social drug.
Okay, yep, this is checking out.
After it wears off, they basically, you go straight down. You crash really hard. So you have extremely reduced charisma and willpower. So spells would be just super destructive.
So what you're saying is us having friendship and or Loki and Imaging loading up on Nova Coke right before we went to the underwater lab was probably
not a good idea.
Not the best idea for what we could have done.
No, definitely not.
Oh, hindsight.
Yeah, makes you really socially pliable.
Mm-hmm.
But when you come down off of it, no one wants to be around you. You're insufferable.
That's fair. I mean, Imaging was on it with those, those animal facts when we were trying to figure out what was down in the lab with us. So I guess it did have its benefit in some way. But yeah, that checks out. Also, one of the things that I thought was interesting in that episode, that you had also kind of buzzword mentioned here. So how does addiction work in Shadowrun as like a property?
So in the game, you have to resist whether the drug is you can have two different addiction types. You have psychological and physical.
Okay.
Physical is your body needs it and craves it. Psychological is your brain wants it. And there are some that are both. So when you use it, every time you use it, you have to test on either psychological or body or both, depending on the drug, to see if you become addicted. And then once you're addicted, you will have to fill that need for that high every so often, and it actually has a table for it for how often. And if you don't, things start to go really bad for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so there are really in-depth rules about addiction and
I would imagine
how to use it.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine so. It seems like with everything else in this game, like, of course there is for that, but like I could imagine like a psychological withdrawal, like seriously affecting a magic user, and like how their mental state is to be able to like, do magic, like, or like perceive the astral. And then like physical withdrawals, I would imagine you could have like bad shakes, and they could like hurt your accuracy when you're trying to shoot a gun because you got the shakes because you haven't done your Nova Coke this morning.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay. And
for your drug dealer idea, you could always do Narcojet in your dart pistol too.
Okay, so what is Narcojet?
Narcojet is just straight up tranquilizer.
Oh, okay.
There are no side effects. It just straight puts you out.
Oh, okay. I don't know why, but for some reason I thought it was gonna be like adrenaline, because I thought that I thought that it was like in case someone is overdosing, you hit them with the Narcojet, and then that like brings them back. But if someone's overdosing, don't hit them with the Narcojet. That's a bad idea.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. It's bad.
Yeah. Okay. So it's just a straight up tranquilizer.
I mean, if you want a popular stimulant, then you're looking for cram.
Cram.
Yes, cram. You either inhale it or ingest it.
Okay, so this is an ingestible. Okay.
If you take cram, you are hyper alert, almost to the point of paranoia.
Okay, so it's speed.
Yeah. People are real twitchy on cram.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Fantastic.
Yep. jitterness and fidgeting are common side effects of cram users.
Now, for ones that are like breathable, would it be possible that I could make like like the shinobi eggs, where they're like it's like
the
a hollowed
smoke
out
bombs?
like a hollowed out egg that they would put the glass powder and stuff in to throw at people. Like I could make that and then throw it at somebody, and then it explodes on their chest and goes up, and then now they're breathing cram.
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay, cool. All right.
And there's a lot of different inhalations too.
I'm making all these notes, man, because I really like this character idea that I've come up with now.
One of your other inhalation options is jazz.
Okay, I already like the sound of this. Let's go.
Jazz is a stimulant that was designed to better the odds for run-of-the-mill law enforcement officers who run up against augmented street Sams.
Okay, so what does it do?
It makes them hyper and twitchy. Jazz also makes people jumpy and as hyper caffeinated as a 2-year-old.
Okay, so it makes you think that you have the ability to fight like an augmented street Sam, but in reality, you're still just a squishy lump of flesh that you always are.
I mean, it increases your physical attributes by a little bit, and you move faster.
Okay, so it does give you a slight physical boost. It's not just you think that you're stronger, but actually you're not. Because that's what I was envisioning, and I was like, why would they give this to police? Like a rampaging physical adept, and it's like, all right, boys, time to jazz up, and then they all just run in and are just immediately torn apart by this guy.
So in the game terms, it gives you 2d6 more initiative and +1 reaction.
Oh, okay.
If you take jazz, so you're much faster.
Yeah. Okay. So that is actually a good benefit. That's not too bad then.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It's just that after it wears off, users crash on it. You're flooded with despondent and miserable emotions, suffering the effects of disorientation.
Oh no.
Equal to how long you were jacked up on it.
Oh, that's not good. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a pretty bad downside there. Real quick, to go back just slightly, so was Narcojet designed as like an actual like sedation for medical purposes? Or
Narcojet was originally designed when you come up against things like from the awakened world, like trolls.
Oh, so you dose them in order to make them more
under.
sluggish and okay.
Yeah. That's originally where Narcojet came from. Is you have these beefed up trolls and also dwarves who are resistant to toxins. So you need a really strong sedative, and so they came up with Narcojet to be able to try to put down these awakened without, actual bullets.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. That makes sense then. They just needed a stronger sedation.
Yeah, they needed a stronger sedation. For inhalation, you've got kamikaze.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Kamikaze is a tailored combat simulant.
Uh-huh.
The repeated use of kamikaze has a destructive effect on the user's metabolism. Large doses can cause excitement, tremors, momentary euphoria, and dilated pupils.
Okay.
And excess doses cause anxiety, hallucinations, and uncontrolled muscular movements.
Oh, okay.
And even higher doses can lead to death.
Fun. So, between this and the last one, what I've imagined is, for Jazz, I imagine it's like the scene in Big Trouble in Little China when they're in the elevator and they're all drinking the magic potion. And Jack
I feel pretty good. Yeah.
I feel pretty good. Yeah, I feel like I can take on the world. Like, that's what I imagine Jazz is. And I imagine that Kamikaze is Bloody Eye from Cowboy Bebop. Like, just
yes, that would be accurate.
the most ultimate insanity-inducing stimulant that you could possibly take.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, good.
That would be what kamikaze is. It would definitely be a equivalent of bloody eye, except you're inhaling it instead of
Spraying
crushing
it into
the
your
vial
eyeball.
or spraying it into your eyeball.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay. Yeah, kamikaze sounds not good. Make sure to stay away from that one for my own uses here, personally.
Right. Another inhalation option is Zen.
Okay.
It's just your good old psychedelic hallucinogen.
Okay. Cool. All right.
But it's an inhalation. So there you go. Smoke bomb Zen. Everybody is chill, and we're just gonna sit down and talk about things.
They call him fingers, but I never see him fing.
Your other inhalation option is nitro.
Now, I've heard nitro, but I don't know what nitro does, because I'm pretty sure, wasn't nitro what we got for Spider before we went down underwater? Okay.
Yep. So nitro is mostly used by trolls because they're one of the only meta variants that can withstand the side effects.
Oh, okay.
It is a potent combination of drugs. Nitro is a powerful stimulant that can easily kill a user.
Oh, okay.
In the game terms, it increases your strength, your willpower, your perception, and gives you super high pain tolerance. So you can ignore boxes of physical damage. Like you wouldn't get modifiers at all.
Oh.
While you're on this high pain tolerance drug.
Okay.
The downside is when you come off of it.
Yeah, as drugs usually are, yes.
Because once you come off of it, well, then all that damage is applied and you feel it.
Oh.
But then,
no.
because you no longer have the high pain tolerance, and then on top of that, you have to then resist deadly stun.
So, do you just have to resist deadly stun as a side effect of taking the drug? Regardless of how much damage you've taken?
Regardless of how much damage you've taken.
Oh, shit, dude.
Yeah.
So
that's why troll gangers are primarily the ones that take this drug.
I see. And it's also a good thing that we never actually had Spider use it, because she was like already halfway to dead, so that would have just... Oh.
Well, then she would have been able to ignore any of the damage that she had already accrued. It's just that anything on top of that after
until
she
it
comes
comes
off the
back
drug.
around, yeah. And then on top of that, if she has to save on deadly stun, don't you have negatives to saving throws when you already have wounds?
No.
Oh, okay.
That luckily does not affect you, but you're still resisting deadly stun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it sounds delightful until it's not, as with a lot of recreational drugs in general.
Then there is another drug that is used again by the awakened community called Psych.
Psych. Okay.
Yes. This is a designer stimulant that is prized by both, actually, technomancers and magicians.
Ooh.
Because it will allow them to sustain more spells.
So, the way that magic casting works in Shadowrun is it kind of like the spell slot system of D&D, where like you have a certain amount of spells available for you to cast? Or because I know that there's like the drain plays into it after you do cast spells, but like how does spell casting work in terms of how this would affect it?
This is how it basically works.
Okay.
You can cast any number of spells that you want. It's just usually all of them take at least one combat turn. So most mages are only going to do one spell a turn. But you can sustain those. You can sustain some spells. So you can cast one spell, then the next turn cast another one, and then the next turn cast another one, and keep sustaining. It's just with every sustained spell that you have, your drain gets pushed up.
Okay.
So your drain code goes higher. And you also get modifiers to try to cast the new spell. So it becomes harder to cast multiple spells that you're trying to concentrate on and keep up.
Okay.
And Psych is an ingestible drug that can help you with this.
Okay. And how does it help, pray tell?
So it's a designer stimulant that is specifically supposed to target the magical community, although it does affect technomancers as well. Psych users are simultaneously hyper-aware and detached, easily absorbed by detail and obsessive about certain facts or problems. So it just gets you to be super aware of your surroundings, and you're able to concentrate harder. It's like hyper ADD medication.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so this is like magic Ritalin is what they're taking.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, cool. So we're just we're having all of our mages rail lines of magical Ritalin. Love it.
Just down this magical Ritalin before you start casting.
I got a MIT and T final tomorrow, man. I need the psych, man.
I gotta have it, man. Come on, man. Don't keep it from me, man.
I'm on day 3 of my long haul, man. I need that psych to help me just level out, dude. I just need to level out.
Day 3 of long haul would be bad.
Day 3 of long haul would be real bad.
Yeah.
Especially if you were a magic user. Like,
well, you're only supposed to do it once. If you do a second dose after the first one, it can really mess up your body.
I would imagine so. Yeah, that checks out. Yeah. The human body is not meant to be up. I can't speak for elves and dwarves, but the human body is not meant to be up for that long, you know.
Yeah, you would also be fighting against deadly stun.
Oh. Self-inflicted deadly stun. I just don't want to sleep, man. I got a cramp. Oh man. All right, so psych is then. I'm assuming that it's got like a similar come down side effect of like, you know, sluggishness and sadness and all the other fun downsides that we've had for all the other drugs so far.
Yes, you'll just be kind of, I mean, you'll obsess about everything, about details, because you're wanting to try to stay laser hyper focused, and you're not able to get that same level of focus that you're used to.
Right. I mean, I would think that there would be more downside to spellcasters taking any of these types of drugs than like just a mundane doing any of them. Or does it not really have that same type of like effectiveness?
On the mundane?
No, like so like if a spell if somebody who's magically attuned was to do long haul, would it have the same effect on them as if a mundane did long haul, or would there be any other type of additional side effect because of their magical attunement?
No.
Okay.
No. Although if they're overdosing on it and taking more than they're supposed to, after they resist that stun that they have to, they could step into the realm of losing that point of magic.
Oh, because they could also have to take the physical damage, which that in and of itself is a bigger negative risk than a mundane would have for doing the same thing. Okay, cool. Yes. Okay, that makes sense then. I was just like, I feel like there has to be some other type of negative for like magic casters, because I just feel like having a wizard who is just constantly on Nova Coke is like, there's got to be some type of drawback to that, other than just being jacked up on Nova Coke all the time.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, Nova Coke is that lovely, lovely social stimulant that people want to use to be able to mingle with the crowds. You'll see it a lot in clubs.
Oh, yeah. All over Dante's.
Oh, yeah, definitely all over Dante's. And then you've got your magical compounds.
Okay.
We already talked about Psych and Deep Weed, but there's others too. Like you've got the Immortal Flower.
Oh.
It is a compound that's prepared from the petals of a small Mojave flower of the same name.
Okay, so the Immortal Flower was not the gift that was given back
No, that is
to-
a different magical artifact.
Okay. You can see where I was coming from, though, right?
No, I can see where you're going.
Yeah.
Yes,
I was
yes.
like, didn't we already have an eternal flower at some point? Okay, so this is a different thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So the immortal flower, once you ingest it, the mixture grants you the power of regeneration.
Oh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this regeneration in the same sense of how magical healing works, where, like, if you get shot, you just regenerate and heal up over the bullet and it stays in your body? Or is this, like, good regeneration?
It's the same regeneration that some paranormal critters have. So according to that regeneration, I'm looking it up for you right now. Yes, the being with regeneration power cannot be killed by wounds except when there is damage to the spine, brain, or other vital apparatus.
Okay, so it's just, like, full-on instantaneous regen healing.
There is a drawback, though.
Okay.
There's a damage threshold, and anything over that you regenerate while under the influence of this, your physical boxes reduce by 1 permanently.
Oh, that's not good.
So you're really powerful with the regeneration for as long as it lasts, but with the drawback of you could eventually have no more physical boxes.
That's not good. A stiff breeze makes you have to do a death savings throw at that point. Like, oh, yeah, that's not great.
It's also bad if you have cyberware.
Oh, I didn't even think about
Because
that.
while under the influence, it's trying to regenerate the cyberware.
Oh,
So if you have a cyber limb, it's trying to grow a real limb out from where you have the cyber limb.
Robo-nub. Oh, that's some fucking Cronenbergian shit right there, dude.
Sounds really bad, huh?
That's not good. That's not good.
No, that is not good.
Oh. Okay. Well,
next,
that sounds fun.
We've got Little Smoke.
Oh, real quick, in regards to Eternal Flower, is that ingested?
Yeah, the immortal flower is ingested.
Okay, so you gotta eat the flower.
You have to eat the flower.
Okay, cool.
There's also Little Smoke. Obviously, this is inhalation.
Okay.
When smoked, this blend of mosses and green leafy substances gifts the user with abilities similar to the concealment and confusion powers associated with awakened critters.
Interesting. Okay, so you can make your... So what are those abilities then?
So with the concealment, that allows you... That's kind of like the camouflage.
Okay, so it is just... It makes you harder to see.
Yeah, you're able to blend with your surroundings much easier.
Okay.
Yeah, concealment power allows a being to hide within its terrain rather than becoming invisible. A being can use concealment to hide its summoner and its companions from danger, or alternatively can use the power to hide something that people are seeking, including itself.
Oh, okay.
And then also you get confusion.
Now, confusion, I'm assuming, is you...
Gives the being the power to make its victims lose their sense of direction and wander confusedly through the terrain it controls.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, you just confuse whoever you target with it.
Yes.
Okay.
The downside to Little Smoke is the same as Nova Coke. After it wears off, your willpower goes almost to nothing.
Gotcha. Now, all of this stuff that we've talked about so far, do all of these scale into the addiction tables? Like, do they... All of them have addictions?
Well, not... The magical compound ones don't.
Okay.
Which is what we're talking about now.
Right, okay.
Those don't, but the other designer drugs do.
Gotcha. Okay, so, like, you could use little smoke, and the only downside is the come down afterwards. You don't have to actually have like an addiction roll or anything like that.
Right.
Okay. I mean, the compounds sound like they're just better in general. I don't understand why you wouldn't just go for the compounds and
Well, because you have to harvest the ingredients and then make the mixture.
Right. Oh, okay. So
it takes a while.
And you have to have the knowledge to make it in the first place as well. Instead of just going to your local shady businessman and going, "I'd like one Nova Coke, please."
Yes, and the magical compounds have a shelf life. They only last for so many days after they're created.
Okay. This is all making more sense then.
Whereas the designer drugs, yeah, we've got this in bulk.
Yeah, they have a shelf life in finger quotes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, gotcha. Now, one of the other things that I was interested is in regards to the designer drugs. Are the designer drugs just legal, or are they still considered illegal narcotics, or like what's the legality status of designer drugs?
There is still it depends on the drug. Some of them, well, not very many.
So like I would imagine that like Narcojet's something that you could probably find more readily because it has actual like medicinal applications to it for all intents and purposes as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like you can't walk into a 7-Eleven and get like a baggie of
Nova Coke.
Of Nova Coke. Okay, cool.
Right,
That's
yeah.
okay. That's what I was wondering.
However, you can walk into a 7-Eleven and get long haul.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So it just depends on the drug. A lot of the ones that we've talked about so far are not legal.
Gotcha. Okay. So then, do we have any other compounds as well?
Yeah, I have a couple other compounds. We've got rock lizard blood.
Yes. Okay. All right.
This bluish green paste is made from the mashed pulp of the desert's weeping tree.
Okay.
Again, you got to ingest it.
Uh-huh.
And then after you ingest it, it grants you immunity to pathogens and poisons.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's just helpful. It's just an anti-venom.
After it wears off, you take a light wound.
Yeah, that's a small price to pay to be fully immune to poison, I feel like, though.
It's like it just gives you a really bad stomach ache after it's over.
Yeah, like, you know, you get your rock lizard blood and your bottle of Pepto, and then you can take on the world.
Call it a day.
Yeah. Is there so the light wound is the downside for that one then?
That's the downside, yes.
Okay.
Next we have spirit strength.
Ooh, okay.
Prepared from small black mushrooms, this pasty mixture is often distributed to tribal warriors before an expected combat or a hunting expedition.
Okay, yeah.
It grants you the ability of enhanced physical attributes, movement, enhanced reactions, and one enhanced sense. However, that is usually randomly determined, that enhanced sense.
Interesting. Okay.
The downside
Uh-huh.
is that once it wears off, your body crashes for an equal duration that you were on it. And during this time, your natural body, you're reduced to a very weakened state. Like you almost cannot move from your bed.
Ew. Okay, so you have physical catatonic reaction is the downside. I mean, it strikes me as like the Vikings taking mushrooms before going into combat scenario, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it always worked out great for them, so I see no downside here.
No downside.
Yeah.
The next magical compound we have is witch's moss.
Ooh. Which means more witches in Spanish.
More witches!
Witches moss, senor.
Made of unknown ingredients, this mixture looks like green porridge.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you eat it.
Okay.
And once you do, you gain the power of paralyzing touch.
Oh, that sounds pretty dope.
which is the power that you experienced with your character when we were in the compound.
When I got punched by the mosquito. I see. Okay. Yeah, that's not great. That's a really shitty thing to get hit with.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh,
the
okay.
disadvantage that you get after coming down off of this
Uh-huh.
is that both your arms become crippled and useless once the power wears off for an equal duration.
I thought you were gonna say forever, so at least that's not. I was like, man, you gotta really want it. You gotta really want it. If he... that paralyzing touch better be a life or death scenario.
Well, you'll be happy to know that most of these durations have a maximum time on the magical compounds of maximum 12 hours.
Oh, even still, that's way too
So,
long.
12 hours without your arms.
12 hours without the arms sounds pretty awful. I'm not gonna lie. Now the thing that confuses me the most about this, I gotta be honest, is I believe you said they become withered and useless.
Crippled and useless.
Okay,
Yes.
I thought you said withered and useless, and I was
that
like,
would be worse.
I was like, so do you get your meat back after the 6 hours is over, or are they just gone forever? You just atrophy your arms, and you're like, well, I guess I can move them again. Like,
it's just the movie Thinner.
yeah. You get thinnered on your arms for duration of 6 hours. Oh man, I gotta find a gypsy to go touch my arms.
There is a drug that is used specifically by the tier.
Oh?
It's a nasty little thing.
Mm-hmm. As I assumed it would be if it's exclusive to the tier.
It's called Liaise.
Oh, okay.
Developed by the tier government, it erases short-term memories in a retrograde fashion.
So it's a mind wiper drug.
Yes, beginning the moment the drug is injected and flowing backward. Subjects also fall unconscious. It's used by the tier to memory wipe border infiltrators, who are then dumped outside the nation. So if they catch you running the border, they just dose you up and then drop you in the wilderness.
They just make you forget everything that you've done for the last couple of hours and then go, good luck out there, and kick you to the woods.
Yep.
What's the spelling on that?
It's Laes.
Laes. Okay.
With a lovely little swish above the E.
And a accent grave, if you will.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Uh-huh. Well, I was wondering because I was like, I'm pretty sure that liaise is also a French word, and it is spelled L apostrophe AISE, but the literal translation of liaise is to be at ease. So it's kind of fucked up that that the drug that it's associated with is something that makes you forget your memory because
not only does it make you forget short term, it erases the last 12 hours.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's
You also fall unconscious for approximately 120 minutes.
Whew. I mean, I guess the person that's giving it to you probably feels at ease of not having to worry about, any of their secrets getting out or anything like that. So maybe it's more a drug named after the person applying it and not necessarily the recipient of the drug. Ugh. I mean, that's a pretty good way
Leave
to
it
keep
to the tier.
It's a pretty good way to keep your secrets intact. I guess I got to give it to the tier on that one. Don't try to go to Ireland without permission, I guess. Was there any other compounds, or did we...
That covers most of the compounds.
Okay.
There's one more magical compound I almost missed. Animal tongue.
Oh, okay. Is this something that lets you talk to animals, or is this an actual tongue of an animal that you have to eat?
No, this is prepared primarily from the pulp of a cactus and gifts the user with abilities similar to animal control.
Oh, so it's less you can talk. It's less Dr. Dolittle, more Aquaman.
Yes, the mixture grants the critter power of animal control.
Okay, which is, I'm assuming, you don't actually get to talk to animals, but is suggestive actions?
Yes, it's like suggestive actions. You convey your emotion of kind of what you want to have happen.
Gotcha.
When it wears off, however, the user has an unnatural fear of animals for a period of time equal to the mixture's duration.
That's pretty funny. That's a pretty good one. I mean, that's like that could either be you're gonna be in a fine case at the end of it, or you're gonna be in a really bad place at the end of it. Like, it really just depends.
Taking it and then going to the zoo.
Oh, I was thinking if the owner of a pet store takes it in order to try to have like a Black Friday sale to like make the animals more appealing to customers, and then at the end of the day it's just him sitting in the corner of the pet store sobbing uncontrollably as he's surrounded by all of these animals.
These puppies, man, get these puppies away from me.
Get these birds out of my face, man.
The fish's scales are too shiny.
The tall one's laughing at me, the short one's being very droll. Oh, man.
Oh, wow. Cats have claws. No.
Oh.
So those are all the very popular designer drugs of the Sixth World. And some of the magical compounds that have been created. And then even we touched on specific compounds that were created by other governments. There's some more nasty ones like nerve gases and terrible chemical mixtures, but that's not fun. Not fun.
I assume that all of the other like government created ones are probably like weapons of destruction and not a good time. Like,
no.
Granted, liaise, again, as mentioned, not a good time for the person being applied to, but not a destructive compound in and of itself. Like, because I imagine that it's just memory loss, and then was there any downside to the user after they take it? Like, is it just the memory loss portion of it, and then that's it?
It's just the memory loss.
Okay, yeah, I mean...
it's the memory loss and you're knocked out for a while.
And you're knocked out for 2 hours, yeah.
But that's just so they can drop you off somewhere outside their border.
Yeah, right. It's not like memory loss and then you wake up and then also like half your body doesn't work, you know? Like,
yeah, exactly. Well, that would be worse.
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say they don't also hit you with like a narcojet and then leave you catatonic in the woods? I
think that it would be funny if like they hit you with the liaise and then they take you to right outside the border, and then they have somebody like waiting in the shadows, and then as soon as you start to come to, they just like blow dart gun you with long haul, and they're like, all right, now get out of here. Like,
I said
go on, get. Just like pump you up to just run as far away as you possibly can.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
So maybe ingesting, inhaling, and shooting up drugs isn't for you, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, don't worry.
I'm afraid of needles.
Because if you're afraid of needles, but you've got a chipjack, boy, have I got news for you.
I like this news.
You're ready to step into the beetle life.
But what if I'm also afraid of bugs?
Well, these aren't actual bugs.
Oh, well, sign me up, friend. Surely there's no negative downsides here at all.
No, of course not. These are called better than life chips, also referred to as BTLs or beetles. They are still enormously popular in spite of the omnipresent wireless technology. Remember, we talked about how wireless is now a big thing in the Matrix.
Yes, the wireless Matrix.
There are 2 playback formats for BTLs. You have Dream Deck chips, which require an old-fashioned SimSense deck or module that has been modified to be able to interpret the BTL signal. And the other format is the direct input chip, which contains all the needed electronics to play it back when slotted into a skill jack or data jack.
So that one's just a plug and play.
Plug and play.
Okay.
Both formats are designed to auto-erase themselves after a single use so that customers have to keep coming back for more.
Ah, there's the hook. Okay.
However, you can try and tamper with the chip if you want to try and negate this one-shot use.
Yeah, because I'm sure that tampering with a device that you're then inserting into your brain could have no possible negative repercussions. If
Nothing
you fuck it
could
up.
go wrong.
Nothing can go wrong here.
There's no way that you could get trapped in a loop.
Oh, God.
So there's 4 different types of chips. You've got dream chips, right? These are your standard SimSense recordings modified to produce BTL output.
Okay.
These might be studio-produced sims that are doctored up, or street recordings that offer a personal, intense glimpse into someone's life.
Interesting. Okay.
The popular themes are heroic fantasies, recorded crimes, and of course, bow chicka wow wow.
Gotta be. All the butt suckers out there gotta get their fill somehow.
They gotta get their fill.
They gotta get their fill. So it's either you're put into like a movie as like a character in it, or it's like reality TV, like you have like person perspective.
So it is person's perspective. I guess the first thing which we talk about before we go into the other 3 types of chips is, what is SimSense?
Yeah, that's fair. Yep, that's valid. So easy. What is SimSense?
Well, I'm glad you asked. SimSense is a multimedia technology based on Assist. Remember Assist from the Matrix that we talked about?
Yes.
This allows the recording of a person's experiences and sensory input to be experienced. SimSense is commonly known for its commercial use in the entertainment industry as a popular medium for full immersion entertainment.
Okay.
A SimSense user can play recordings back to hear, see, smell, taste, touch, and feel everything the recorded actor has experienced.
Now, at this point, is this like a roller coaster ride, or do you have autonomy at all?
So with the assist, remember, you're locked in so that you don't flail around and hurt yourself.
Right.
However, you can bypass the assist and live out your fantasy world actually walking around it.
Okay.
You can only imagine the dangers that entails.
Yeah, nothing good. Nothing good possibly would come from that. That sounds awful.
Yeah, SimSense chips allow escapism to a previously unknown extent. You're not just watching a movie, you're living it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Your favorite romance, your favorite adventure, your favorite sci-fi. I'm sure horror is also pretty high up there.
Yeah, for sure. It's what every video game developer thought VR was going to be in the 90s. Is what you're telling me.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, cool.
It's just that then you have the better than life chips that come about, and a lot of them actually have the assist already turned off, and all the senses are cranked up to 11.
Ah, okay. So that's
So
where
you're
that comes in
hyper.
specifically.
Yeah, you're hyper experiencing everything.
Gotcha. And then the so in a standard setting, if you were to go and seek out SimSense, it would be more akin to like a roller coaster ride where you, because of assist, are strapped in and you're just seeing and experiencing the things through the SimSense first,
Right.
but as if they were firsthand. But by disabling assist, it becomes more of a open world of you are now in this setting.
You're living it.
You're living in it.
Literally
Okay.
living it. Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
For a great example, in one campaign that I had some runners take part in, they were doing a run on a gang-controlled building, and they had to get down to their terminal to steal some data, right? Good old pay data run. However, one of the gang leaders that's here thinks that he is the Dark Lord from the Lord of the Rings because of the better than life chip that he permanently has slotted.
Sick. Okay.
So he wears black robes, and he talks like he's the leader of the orcs.
I love it.
His room is completely painted up to look like a certain mountainy area with some exploding volcano motif.
A mountain of peril or doom, some may say.
Yeah, some may say. So that's a great one.
That's great.
I think in the actual the first video game released by Harebrained for Shadowrun, the first one they did, there's a character you can interact. I think it's the first one, or it might be in Dragonfall. There's a character you can interact with called Alice, and she's stuck in a beetle that is Wonderland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
she's Alice and living in Wonderland.
Down the literal and proverbial rabbit hole in that.
Exactly.
Okay, that's pretty sweet. So
yes.
So then, when somebody's under the influence of a beetle, how is their perception of the outside world still like interpreted at that point? Because like, okay, so in the example of the guy who thought that he was the Dark Lord, like if you went to go talk to him, would he still see the runners as runners, or does everything kind of get like an augmented veil put over it for his perspective?
Most things are getting the augmented veil put over it.
I see.
So instead of the runners, he might see a band of elves or men of Gondor approaching.
Gotcha. Okay, so he sees it through the perspective, but he still sees reality.
It's probably overlaid a little bit,
right?
And that's why he immersed himself in that very iconic room to keep himself in the fantasy.
Gotcha. Okay, so the outside world he can still see and interpret, but it's always through the veil of whatever the projection is. Okay. So for the Alice character, she would see everything as Wonderland. Like if your character went up to talk to her, you might be like the walrus or the carpenter or
or the caterpillar or the Mad Hatter.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. I just imagine like somebody who may be using like an adult oriented beetle, and like somebody walks in on them like while they're in the beetle, and they're just like, well, I didn't call for one more, but since you're here, like just like it's just like, no, boss, I just came to tell you that, like, you know, the runners are here. They're taking out all our guys. Oh, God, put it away. Oh, man.
Yeah, it could get wild. Yeah, that's the beetles are known for their lack of peak controls because assist is removed.
So that's what you're saying. Everything's cranked up to 11 at that point.
Yeah,
essentially.
all the senses, touch, smell, everything. It's just, and that is what keeps beetle users coming back, is that super high that they get depending on what they're experiencing. You know what it actually reminds me of is, it reminds me of the scene in The Matrix when the dude's having the conversation and he's like, my brain is telling me that I'm eating a steak, but I know that I'm not eating a steak. Yeah. Okay. So it's like, so it's that, like, yes, it is. Okay. It is like that. Yes.
Cool. Okay. Cool.
Yes. Beetles have become the modern drug of choice, and junkies called chipheads are a common sight.
Chipheads? That's such a delightful name for like a horribly addicted person. Oh man.
So back to the different chip types now that we know what SimSense is and how it's interpreted.
Yes, so we had the first.
So we had the first one, which were the dream chips.
Okay.
Which are the doctored up recordings that you become the person, right?
Yes.
You get that POV view and you experience what they experience.
Yes.
Next, you've got mood chips. Mood chips focus on the emotive track and intense emotional sensations. Themes will run the gambit from euphoria to sexual urges to terror and hate.
That's so interesting.
After the chips program has run its course, the user crashes,
Uh-huh.
usually feeling the opposite emotion of the beetle for up to a few hours.
So could it be a situation where like you would use an emotional chip to make yourself extremely angry or depressed for like 2 or 3 hours, and then in order to have the reverse stimulation when you come out of it as like the desired effect?
Yeah, there are people that do that.
Interesting. That's huh.
What's interesting about the mood chip is the street names reflect the nature of the SimSense experience, such as Blue Passion, Red Meanie, Cool White.
Oh, is it all color oriented too?
A lot of it is color oriented for the
Oh,
moods,
that's
yes.
cool. I like that. Huh.
They have their override disabled so that you can move around while under the influence of mood chips.
Oh man, I just it's one of those like you have to think about it, but the more that you think about how it would like affect someone in a normal day capacity, it actually becomes kind of terrifying. Like I imagine somebody like popping in like anger, like an anger chip before going to like sit in rush hour traffic for 2 hours to get to work at the megacorp job.
Or
And-
to get hyped up before an MMA fight.
Yeah. Like you take like a depression chip so that way when you come off of it you're all like super jacked and like oh man. That's terrifying.
Now you're just talking about the people that are freely using it. Now take it a step further and think about people that force others to use it.
Oh, that's that's not good. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Think of the radical forms of persuasion techniques, air quotes here, that you could get from mood chips.
Ugh. That's a nightmare. That's not good.
Yes.
Ugh. I thought these were supposed to be fun, easy. I thought this was supposed to be a fun time.
We're having a fun time. Slot your chip. Let's go.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Next we have PersonaFix chips. Also called P-fixes.
Okay.
Are the strangest and most dangerous beetles.
Okay.
They're a combination of SimSense and Skillsoft technology modifiers that modifies the basic personality of the user.
That's what I was gonna guess, is that they're personality chips.
Installing the routines of certain behavior patterns, while under the chip's influence, the user becomes a different person. Popular chips are based off of historical figures or pop culture icons. Then there's the dark side. There's also the workers and the bunraku. Triads will slot people with bunraku chips to make them puppets for their sex parlors.
Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's probably...
Sometimes combined with data filter cyberware to protect the client's anonymity, so even after they take the chip out, they don't remember anything.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, and the override feature is frequently disabled so that users can move around freely under the influence of the P-fix chips.
Oh.
The downside is you get captured by the Yakuza and they slot you with one of those. You don't stop until somebody takes it out.
Jeez.
You're just there until somebody removes it.
Oof.
That's the dark. I think that's the worst one is the PersonaFix chips, because you just slot it and become somebody else.
Yeah, that's...
And there's the possibility that you forget that it's even in there and you're just this person now.
Oh, man. That is actually the worst one. That's not great. Like, cause like I'm trying to think of it even from like a beneficial standpoint. I can't think of any time that would be a benefit, because any time that there would be any type of benefit possibly attached to it, it's still mired under the shadow of that it's a lie. Like,
yes. Well, here is the benefit I can tell you. Say you want to have this PFix chip, right? So you have your data jack to slot the chip directly. So it's plug and play.
Yep.
You then get a cyberware installed in your body called SkillWire. And SkillWire is exactly what you think of it. It will... You slot, you basically get to learn how to fly a helicopter. It's like in the Matrix where you learn how to fly a helicopter. Just having the SkillWire installed, you're able to slot a chip that's like helicopters, and now you're able to fly a helicopter without really having to do anything, because the chip knows what to do.
Is controlling your body.
Controlling the SkillWires which is in your body. So with these persona chips, what you can do is you could find, like, you could get the SkillWire implant, and then you slot in like a James Bond persona chip.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, dude, like now,
or Jason Bourne, or a popular runner like Carl Combat Mage.
Now I want to make a character who's a Shadowrunner who doesn't know they're a Shadowrunner because they use the chips. And so, like, the chip is their Shadowrun persona, and everything and all their ability is attached to it. And they have, like, a roommate that they live with, but the roommate is actually their handler. So, like, whenever they need to do a job, they're like, "Hey, man, what's that over there?" Then they walk up and put the chip in them, and they're like, "Agent 39, you're back online. It's time to get to work." Like,
yeah, man.
Man.
Like, sleeper agents. Come on.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Okay, so to pseudo bring this back to Sinless, is that in any way similar to the masks that we've had to deal with for characters that may be attached to Zero's backstory?
I guess we'll just have to continue the story and find out.
Interesting.
Maybe there's a certain individual that you guys are trying to find right now that kind of goes by the name of Showtime.
Who maybe is able to slot in different personality chips in order to allow them the abilities they need for who they're trying to pass themselves off on.
Or even darker, maybe Showtime is the personality chip.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh.
Ba-dum-bum-bum.
Oh, boy. Oh.
Yeah. How about that?
So, I mean, it's got, like, there is a silver lining, but the vast majority of all of this sounds like Nightmare Fuel bad time. Like, we do have the somewhat silver lining of the cool stuff that we've talked about, but like, I feel like that is the few and far between instances of how that tech gets used, and not the majority of it.
Well, I mean, you have people called chip heads that abuse these things, so come on, what did you expect?
Yeah, no, it's very true. Ugh, okay, yeah, no, that one is like. From a character creation standpoint, that one is fascinating because it feels like you could do so much with that. But from like a world perspective, like all the stuff you talked about,
terrifying.
With the triad thing, that's terrifying, dude.
Well, here, this will take it.
Actually, bad. That's actually
this will take
Nightmare Fuel.
This will take it an even step further into Nightmare Fuel. I promise.
Okay.
The data jack is one of the most common cyberware implants that most people will have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine it's like 90% of the population has a data jack at this point.
Honestly, if you don't have magical ability, you're probably rocking a data jack.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly because you can go to like a mall and have the surgery done in a few hours.
It's like getting your ears pierced.
Yeah, it's like getting your ears pierced.
It's
Yes.
like going to a Claire's. And Claire's now offering data jack installation, and you can get it with like a cool rainbow or like a unicorn on it, maybe like a little flower design. Like
Exactly.
sick.
How crazy is that?
Oh man.
And then you can abuse these chips.
Yeah, then you can use it for bad and not good.
So our fourth type
Yes.
are called trip chips.
Okay.
They are like mood chips, primarily producing sensory output, flooding the user with interesting and unusual sensations.
Mm-hmm.
These can be simple effects, or they can be advanced sensations, such as simulating being underwater.
Oh, interesting.
The latest craze is to deliberately induce synth anesthesia with jacked up sensory levels and the override disabled, allowing users to experience their surroundings in an entirely new way. So you basically put yourself under and then turn everything up to 11 and turn off the override so that you could potentially move, but you've
I don't even know
system shocked yourself.
Yeah, I don't even know how you would function at that point though. Like if
It's basically to try and create like these hyper crazy intense hallucinations.
Huh. I mean, I'm getting like a Flatliners vibe from this is what you're
Oh yeah,
telling me.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
So we're going for simulated death as an experience. Like
Yes, that's what we're going for.
Jeez. Okay.
What a great time to be alive.
What a good... Is it? Are they?
Look. All right, look. I am all for SimSense. I think it would be really cool, but then this would happen. This would 100% happen.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, personal moderation always comes into control at this point. You know, it's like,
oh yeah,
you have to have that conversation about everything.
The escapism
yeah.
that you would get from this, I mean, that's why you have people that just live in these fantasy worlds that they're chipped into, and they don't want to leave because the regular world is so awful.
Because why would you? Like, yeah, it's, like from a purely escapist standpoint, I get the appeal. I totally understand the appeal of just being able to be like, but what if I just lived in Skyrim? Like, would that be so bad? What if I was just Steve from Minecraft all the time, though? Like, I don't see what the problem is.
You go to sleep one day, right? Someone slots a chip in, and you wake up, and it's, oh, you're finally awake.
Finally awake in the wagon. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh no. I've been isekai to Skyrim.
How awful would that be?
I would just, you know what? I would indulge my new life as a blacksmith, and that would be my existence at that point. Be the hero of the world? Nah, man. I'm just gonna go live in a hut in the woods.
But I am the Dovahkiin.
Yep, and I make really, really good knives and leather pouches because that's how I got my blacksmithing so high.
And then I just build a house somewhere up in the woods and live with my werewolf wife.
I see no downside to this. Like, why have to be the hero? Just go hang out, man. Go chill. Being the hero is overrated. Most of the time, it just gets you killed.
Yeah, that's true. Not everything that people chip is gonna be those high fantasy things, though. Like some of the darker things that have shown up from the SimSense industry is snuff is on the rise.
Yeah, that seems like a thing that would probably be popular in the sixth world setting.
Being able to
just
fully experience death.
Yeah.
Well, being able to experience death without actually dying, I feel like that would really mess you up in the head.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, that's not.
You're
that's
feeling
not
and experiencing everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, see, I like to think of it more of like, I like to imagine that there's some like high-powered CEO of a megacorp somewhere who just likes at the end of the day to like SimSense himself as a dude that works at like a grocery store. Like his escapism is the mundane life of a 9 to 5, you know? Like
He
I
goes
like to,
home, he slots on his Simpsons, and he's working at Costco.
yeah, right? Like I
Welcome to
think
Costco. I
I
love
love
you.
you.
Welcome to Costco.
Exactly.
I love you.
I think that would be way more interesting. Like the dark side is always going to be there because that's always part of the appeal of these things is like, well, how fucked up can it get? But like I like to just imagine the dude that's just like, what if I worked at a gas station in the Midwest? Like, you know, like that's just escapism fantasy. Oh, I don't know what that says about me, but that's where I would like to go. Is it's just like, what if I just like lived on a farm in the middle of the woods and just I had nature, you know? Like, what if I could just go take a walk through the woods?
Well, one of the other downsides, and something the Yakuza really likes to do, is they'll get these chip heads, like they'll get them super into debt, right? And then promise to get them out if they do a favor for them. Unfortunately, what they do after that is once they agree, they slot you with a P chip, a persona fix chip. That's basically a mind control chip that's controlled via the Matrix. And a Decker just puts in what they need, and so they turn them into like these hired muscle or assassins.
Yeah, these like literal drones of like whatever assistance they need. Yeah. So outside of the Beatles, I was wondering, is there any other like type of drug that has effects in regards to the Matrix? Like, are there like other drugs that people will take and then go into the Matrix, or anything else that's specifically designed for use with the Matrix, or is it pretty much just Beatles?
It's pretty much just Beatles if you're wanting to go down that avenue, because everything else that you take drug wise, it's usually affecting you physically, and then when you jacked into the Matrix, it's all off of your nervous system and your mind.
Right. Okay.
So
yeah.
I guess if you take hallucinogens, maybe
like
you'd
if you
probably
were to,
get some crossover.
like if you were to take Bliss and then decide to go jack into the Matrix, like you just have a really chill time. Like that's
yes,
that's when you go to play like Matrix Farmville, when you're just like, I'm all my bliss is kicking in, and it's time for me to go harvest my carrots.
But on the other hand, why would you do that and risk addiction to bliss when you could just slot Cool White the mood chip and just chill out, man, while you're in the Matrix?
Yeah.
Rock that mood chip while you're jacked in, man.
Yeah, I guess that's also true. Then you just become addicted to technology drugs instead of physical drugs, and
well,
that's the trade-off.
There is that, yeah.
So, how does addiction work in regards to Beatles? Like, what makes addiction different for Beatles than it does for the other drugs?
So the big draw in the addiction to the Better Than Life chips is because of the escapism and for the level of sensation that you can get from them. I mean, you have the assist taken off so that you're getting the maximum effect out of things like mood chips while still being able to move around and go about your day.
I see. So it's more that like the addiction.
It's more of a mental addiction.
Yeah, it's not
than a
so
physical
much
one.
Like a legit, like a addiction so much as it is just why would you not?
Yeah, it becomes like a crutch, You get so used to the sensation, you want it all the time. Like if you could slot a mood chip that just makes you happy.
Yeah.
It's just the downside is when it pops out, then you're horribly depressed.
Right. Yeah.
So to combat it, what are you going to do? You're going to slot another happy chip.
You're going to just keep it in. Yeah.
You're just going to, that's the whole thing. You're just going to perpetuate it.
Yeah.
And so that's where the addiction comes in.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that does make sense. So in a way, it's almost like a more sinister addiction, I feel like, than you would get with the actual like designer drugs, because the drugs have to be like, that's a choice.
you have to wean yourself off of.
And then you can wean yourself off of the addiction, and then that's it. But like Beatles are just like, why would you not? You know, like once you start with Beatles, it's like, well, yeah, then just keep doing that forever.
Just do it. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
why do you think they call them better than life?
That's very true. Yeah. I really hope
Whole new sensation.
I really hope that whoever the main manufacturer of Beatles are was able to get "Just Do It" from Nike as their slogan, because I do feel like that's more fitting in this context.
Well, in the beginning, the Beatles were produced by legitimate manufacturers in Aztlan, Southeast Asia, and Hong Kong.
Oh, okay.
Most of the chips ended up in the lucrative European and North American markets. And most of the distribution was done via the Matrix. So you go to sites and you download it onto a chip.
Okay.
But then the Better Than Life stuff starts happening, and you get, the pirated versions of media and whatnot.
So was the initial rise of like consumer Beatles in direct response to the rise of SimSense as well then, or?
Yes, you were getting SimSense and Beatles going at the same time. It's just that when they were legitimately manufactured, you had the assist and RAS turned on so that you weren't moving around, you were in one spot.
Gotcha. That was that's more of the roller coaster ride experience.
Yes, and then they were tampered with, and now you can live your life connected to the Beetle.
Right.
Like I said, you can undo the loop, the one-use loop on them, and then it just goes as long as it's jacked in.
Gotcha.
Which is kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
Originally, they were only intended for the one slot use sensation.
Yeah, the one
like you
and
experience it. You experience it once, and then you have to buy another one, or because that's how markets work.
Yeah, right.
It's just that with Beatles, you'll have people tampering with them so that they can create those loops, and then you're just in it.
And then it's
you buy it,
and then it's
you buy
forever.
it, and you're addicted.
Yeah.
Well, eventually they'll burn out. The chip will probably burn out, and you'll have to get a replacement.
Yeah, but then that's the addictive part. Is that it's just like
exactly.
You
You
just
constantly
keep buying
want
the
it.
new Beatles. Yeah.
Yeah, or you want the next new sensation.
Ugh.
Especially in Beatles, where everything's jacked up. The sensories are all jacked up.
Yeah.
You don't have the assist on there keeping everything level so that you're not overstimulated.
Ugh. Yeah, I think I think I'd stick with Nova Coke. Thanks. That just.
I'll just stick with the good old regular drugs and compound.
Yeah,
you know what? I'm gonna try and sneak into the tier. That sounds like a better idea.
Yeah, dude. Like I don't need those 12 hours of my life. Fuck it, dude.
Yeah, screw that, man. I'm done. I'm taking a nap.
Beatles are just it's a whole nightmare, dude. Like there's
Beatles are an entire nightmare.
There's like no good case scenario at all. Like it's like
no.
Like the best possible case scenario for any of them is far outweighed by any of the negative ramifications that are just readily available with them. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's awful.
Oh. But, that's life in the sixth world. Most things are terrible all the time.
There's your recreations in the sixth world right there. I hope you've enjoyed this roller coaster.
Oh, one other quick thing that I did have a question on, just because I was interested in it as like a business standpoint. Mm-hmm. Like, what's the deal with like beer and like alcohol in the sixth world? Like, is there any like crazy difference to it, or is it still just pretty much alcohol? Same as business as usual.
It's basically the same business as usual.
Okay.
There isn't. I mean, you'll have people obviously experimenting and bootleggers and whatnot.
Yeah.
But alcohol is alcohol.
Right.
You're never going to get rid of it.
Right. I didn't know if there was. I don't know why. I was just like, maybe they've got like future alcohol, like I don't even know what that means, but in my brain I was like, maybe this is cyber beer. Like, what do we got, man?
Sure, maybe it gets flashed up a little bit with
Yeah, but I mean, we
doodads and baubles and whatnot. But
but we have that
alcohol
now.
is still alcohol.
But we have that now. Like, you could go to like an overtly fancy bar, and they're like, so this is an inhalated vodka. So we're gonna pop the bubble, and you're gonna breathe it in, and then feel drunk. And so
yes,
okay.
It's much the same that you would expect to experience now.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's just relatively the same. Fair enough.
Alcohol is relatively the same. You just have some new designer drugs, and then better than life chips.
and then the nightmare reality that is BTL.
Listeners, you'll have to let us know. You'll have to come into the Discord and let us know. Would you risk the BTLs, or would you more of the relaxed and just stick with the new designer drugs?
Yeah, are you a designer drug guy or are you a beetle guy? What do you got going on? I mean,
let us know.
As mentioned, I think I'd probably still stick the designer route personally. The possibility for bad for beetles is way too high, dude. It's way too high.
Oh god, it's super high, but man, those mood chips sound really good.
The mood chips are pretty alright. Like, I think of all of them, the mood chips are probably actually like the least bad. Like, I know that I said it right after we finished with the mood, where I was like, man, the mood chips seem awful. But in comparison, I think that the mood chips are probably the best you could do for beetles. Because you get your moods, and then you fluctuate the alternate after it wears off. But like in comparison to like brain control and like the possibility of being like, what does death feel like? Like that's just all bad. That's all bad downside.
Those are the extremes right there. Yeah.
The extreme of the emotion chips is like, what if I just wanted to be sad for like an hour? Like,
Oh my god. Yeah. And then turn it off. Okay,
And
I
then
just
you
really
can turn
needed
it
to
off.
cry.
Yeah.
I just really needed to cry and get it out.
Yeah.
Now I feel better.
You get it out of your system, and then you're just like, all right, well, now we just continue on with our day. And so
meanwhile, you don't get used by Yakuza to become a hired muscle and or an assassin and or a sex puppet.
and or sex slave. Like, yeah, exactly. All things considered, coming up Millhouse on that one, man.
Yeah, the human trafficking in the Sixth World is also a big problem.
Oh god, I can only imagine.
Again, thanks to Beatles.
Yeah, no, I can imagine.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
just seems like it's just all bad.
It's bad.
All
It is bad.
All
It is bad.
Oh,
Well, everybody, thank you for hanging out with us again, and I hope this has helped you in the recreational area of the Sixth World, and maybe even gave you some character ideas, like you have there, Austin, with your guy whose roommate is the operative.
Oh, dude,
and the
I really
handler.
like that
That sounds
idea.
like a really cool idea.
Yeah,
and I'd be
really
happy
like
to
that
play
idea.
something like that out.
All
so.
right, I might have to like talk to Tyler about that concept and see.
Excellent.
Because I actually really like that idea. Just like a 2-man operation where you just have the one. You just have your one guy who's the face, and the other one is everything else as soon as the chip goes in.
Hang on, I've got to get my guy ready.
We'll be there in 25 minutes. Oh, man.
Oh, wow. All right, everybody. We're going to wrap it up, and we will catch you on the next one. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
The Topps Company Inc. has sole ownership of the names, logo, artwork, marks, photographs, sound, audio, video, and or any proprietary materials used in connection with the game Shadowrun. The Topps Company Inc. has granted permission to Critical Hits to use such names, logos, artwork, photographs, sound, audio, video, and or any proprietary materials for promotional and informational purposes on its website, but does not endorse and is not affiliated with Critical Hits in any official capacity whatsoever.